The Slow Rise of a Sweet Brown Syrup. A Bedtime Story for Tired Minds. Part 1. A Quiet Street at Night. Coca-Cola and related marks are registered trademarks of the Coca-Cola Company. This is an informal, fan-made bedtime story, not official company content. This story is not financial investment or health advice. It is simply a gentle telling of how something ordinary came to be. Welcome. You are here now. You are lying down or perhaps sitting somewhere comfortable, and the day is behind you. Whatever happened today, the tasks completed, the words spoken, the small frustrations and small victories, all of that can wait outside this moment. Right now, there is only this, your body, your breath, and a quiet story about to begin. Let's start with your breathing. Not changing it, just noticing it. Feel the air enter through your nose or mouth. Feel it travel down, expanding your chest, your belly. And then feel it leave, slowly carrying with it a little bit of the day's tension. Just notice. In and out, in and out. There is no right way to breathe here. However you are breathing is exactly right. Now, if you like, take one slow, deep breath. Let it fill you completely, your lungs, your ribs, your whole torso expanding gently. Hold it for just a moment at the top, and then release it slowly, like letting air out of something soft. Feel your shoulders drop slightly as the breath leaves. Good. Take another slow breath now. In through your nose, filling your chest. Hold gently. And release. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Let it carry tension away. One more breath. This one even slower. Feel your belly rise as the air comes in. Feel the pause at the top, that moment of fullness. And then let it go all the way out until your body settles deeper into wherever you are resting. Your mattress, your pillow, the surface beneath you holding your weight, asking nothing of you in return. Now let your breathing return to normal. You don't need to think about it anymore. Your body knows how to breathe without your attention. It has been doing this all day, all your life, without asking for help. Trust it to continue. Let your attention move to your jaw. Is there any tightness there? Any clenching you didn't notice until now? Let your jaw soften. Let your teeth part slightly. Let your tongue rest heavy in your mouth, not pressing against anything, just resting. Feel the muscles of your face relax around your eyes, across your forehead, along your cheeks. Softening. Releasing. Your face is soft now. Your jaw is loose. There is nothing you need to hold tightly. Nothing at all. Move your attention to your shoulders. They carry so much during the day, tension, responsibility, the weight of keeping everything together. But not now. Now they can drop. Feel them sink away from your ears, settling down toward the bed, toward the floor, toward the earth beneath you. Heavy and relaxed. Let them go. And your hands. Where are your hands right now? Notice them without moving them. Feel the weight of each finger, the warmth of your palms. If there is any tension there, any curling or gripping, let it release. Let your fingers uncurl your palms open slightly. Your hands have done their work for today. They can rest now, soft and still. Feel your whole body now as a single thing lying in the dark or the dim light held by the bed covered by the blanket. Feel the weight of yourself pressing gently into the mattress. The mattress presses back, supporting you. You don't have to hold yourself up. You can let go completely. The bed will hold you. The night will hold you. The story will hold you. You are ready now, settled, soft. The story can begin. Imagine a street, a quiet street in a southern city on a night more than 100 years ago. The city is Atlanta, Georgia, though the name matters less than the feeling of the place. It is late past the hour when most people have gone to bed. The shops along the main street are dark, their windows reflecting the faint glow of gas lamps that flicker on their posts. The air is cool. Not cold, but cool in the way that late spring nights can be in the South, when the heat of the day has faded and a gentleness settles over everything. You can feel this coolness on your skin if you imagine standing there, a soft touch on your cheeks, your forearms, the backs of your hands. The air smells faintly of wood smoke from distant chimneys, of damp earth, of something green and growing. The street is unpaved, packed dirt that holds the impressions of wagon wheels and horse hooves from the day's traffic. But now at this hour, the street is empty. No wagons, no horses, no footsteps, only the soft hush of a city at rest, and somewhere far off the distant whistle of a train, low and lonesome, carrying passengers and cargo through the Georgia night. That distant train whistle fades. The street is quiet. You are quiet too. Let the stillness settle around you. Along this street there are storefronts, general stores, a hardware shop, a millinery with hats in the window, their shapes just visible in the dim light. And here at the corner, a pharmacy. The sign above the door is painted in careful letters, though you cannot quite read it in the darkness. It doesn't matter. What matters is what's inside. A single lamp burns in the back of the pharmacy. Its warm golden light spills through the front window, casting a soft rectangle on the wooden boardwalk outside. Most of the shop is dark, but this one light glows steadily, patiently, like a small beacon in the quiet night. Let's move closer. Let's step onto that wooden boardwalk. Feel the boards beneath your feet smooth from years of footsteps slightly worn in the middle where people walk most often. The wood is cool through your shoes, or perhaps through bare feet if you prefer to imagine it that way. The boards creak softly as you approach the window. Through the glass you can see the interior of the pharmacy. Shelves line the walls, filled with bottles of every size and color. Amber bottles, blue bottles, clear bottles with handwritten labels, green glass jars with cork stoppers. The glass catches the lamplight and glows softly warm honey tones, deep forest greens, the pale blue of a winter sky. Each bottle holds something, a tincture, a tonic, a remedy, a syrup. The pharmacist's trade measured out in careful doses, waiting to be dispensed. So many bottles, so much glass, but you don't need to count them. Just let your eyes rest on the soft colors, the gentle shapes. There is a counter in the center of the room made of dark wood, polished smooth by years of use. The wood gleams faintly in the lamplight. If you could run your hand across it, you would feel how smooth it is, how warm from the lamp's glow, how solid and sturdy beneath your palm. This counter has supported countless transactions, coins, placed down bottles, handed over quiet conversations between pharmacist and customer. At one end of the counter there is a slab of marble set into the wood. The marble is for mixing, for measuring, for the precise work of the pharmacist's art. It is cool to the touch, even on warm days, smooth and heavy and eternal. If you pressed your fingertips to it, you would feel that coolness, that solidity, the patient stone that has been here longer than the shop itself. Near the marble slab, there is a glass. A tall glass, empty, now sitting beside a pitcher of water. The glass is simple clear, with a heavy base that keeps it stable. On the outside of the glass, you can see faint traces of condensation, tiny droplets that have formed and begun to slide down the sides, leaving trails like small rivers on the smooth surface. Even empty, the glass remembers the cold drinks. It has held the ice that has melted inside it, the lips that have pressed against its rim. Condensation on glass. Small drops sliding slowly downward. You can almost feel the coolness against your palm. The air inside the pharmacy smells of many things layered together into something complex and strangely comforting. There is the sharp, clean scent of alcohol used for mixing medicines. There is the sweetness of sugar stored in large bins behind the counter. There is something herbal, dried leaves, perhaps, or the faint memory of flowers pressed and powdered. And underneath it all, there is a faint stickiness in the air, the residue of syrups that have been poured and measured, a sweetness you can almost taste. This is a place of making, of mixing, of combining one thing with another to create something new. The pharmacist who works here knows the properties of dozens of ingredients, which ones soothe, which ones stimulate, which ones ease pain, and which ones settle the stomach. He measures carefully. He records his recipes. He experiments, sometimes trying new combinations, seeking something that might work better than what came before. Tonight the lamp burns late, because such an experiment is underway. In the back room beyond the main shop, a man is working. We cannot see him clearly from the window, only glimpses a hand reaching for a bottle, a spoon stirring something in a vessel, the occasional clink of glass against glass. He is patient. He is careful. He has been working on this particular mixture for some time. The clink of glass against glass. A spoon stirring slowly. These are quiet sounds, soothing sounds. Let them ease you deeper into rest. In his workroom there is a kettle not for tea but for heating mixtures, for dissolving sugars into syrups, for warming ingredients until they blend. The kettle is made of brass burnished from years of use, and it sits over a low flame. Inside, a liquid is warming slowly. It is dark, the color of strong coffee, of molasses, of shadows, pooling in the corners of a room. As it warms, the liquid becomes more fluid, easier to work with. The pharmacist lifts a spoon and dips it into the kettle. He raises it slowly, watching the liquid drip back. It falls in a long, slow thread, dark and heavy, stretching as it descends, thinning, until it breaks and drops back into the kettle. A single drop of dark syrup falling through warm lamplight. He watches it fall, noting the consistency, the color, the way it moves. He is getting close to something. He can feel it. A single drop of syrup, falling slowly. Dark and sweet. Watch it fall in your mind's eye. Slow and heavy and warm. We do not need to know yet what he is making. We do not need to know the ingredients, the proportions, the purpose. That will come later in its own time. For now it is enough to know that he is working, that the lamp burns, that the syrup warms, that somewhere in this quiet pharmacy, on this quiet street, in this quiet city, something new is taking shape. Outside, the night continues. A cat crosses the street, silent on soft paws. A cloud passes over the moon, dimming the light for a moment, then moving on. The gas lamps flicker in a breath of wind, then steady themselves. The city sleeps unaware of the small lamp burning in the back of the pharmacy, unaware of the man and his kettle and his slowly warming syrup. And you, too, can re-saint now. Let the image of that quiet street settle into your mind, like sediment settling in still water. The cool night air, the warm lamplight, the smooth wooden counter, the cool marble slab, the glass with its traces of condensation, the faint sweetness in the air, the distant whistle of a train so far away now it might be a memory or a dream. The city sleeps, the pharmacist works, and you are drifting gently toward sleep. It's okay to let go now. In the next part of our story, we will drift closer to that quiet workbench. We will watch the pharmacist's hands as he measures and mixes. We will see the syrup take its final form. We will learn the name it will be given, the script that will be written to identify it. But that is later. That is for another stretch of quiet listening, another descent into rest. For now, just hold this image, a man working late alone by lamplight, stirring a dark syrup in a brass kettle while the city sleeps around him. A drop of syrup falls from his spoon. It catches the light as it descends. It disappears back into the kettle. and the night goes on quiet and patient, holding space for whatever is about to be made. Rest now. The story will be here when you return. The syrup continues to warm, the lamp continues to burn, and you continue to sink deeper and deeper into sleep. Part 2. The Workbench and the First Glass. We return now to the pharmacy, to the lamp burning in the back room, to the man working quietly while the city sleeps. His name is John Pemberton. He is a pharmacist, which means he is someone who mixes things, medicines, remedies, tonics. He has spent many years learning which ingredients do what, which combinations soothe, and which invigorate, which flavors please the tongue, and which settle the stomach. Pemberton is not young anymore. His hair has grayed at the temples. His hands, though still steady, show the years of work, small stains from compounds, a roughness at the fingertips from handling glass and metal. He moves slowly tonight, not from tiredness, but from care. The work he is doing requires patience. It cannot be rushed. His workbench is a simple thing. A wooden table, scarred and worn, pushed against the back wall of the room. On its surface there is an ordered clutter, the kind of clutter that makes sense to the person who created it, and no one else. Small glass vials stand in rows, each one labeled in his own handwriting, the ink faded on some, fresh on others. There are measuring spoons of different sizes, from tiny to small. There is a scale with brass weights for when precision matters most. An ordered clutter. Everything in its place. You can let your own thoughts settle into order now, or let them drift into comfortable disorder. Either is fine. Beside the vials, there is a notebook. The pages are filled with his notes, recipes, attempted results, observed, adjustments made. Some entries are crossed out. Some have question marks in the margins. Some have small stars beside them, indicating something worth remembering, worth trying again. The notebook is the record of years of quiet experimentation, of asking what if and seeing what happens. Tonight, Pemberton is working on something he has been refining for some time. A syrup. Not a medicine exactly, though it might settle the nerves or ease a headache. Something meant to be pleasant. Something meant to refresh. He has tried many versions, adjusting the sweetness, the depth of flavor, the way it feels on the tongue. Each version gets a little closer to what he is imagining, though he could not quite put that imagining into words. He reaches for a vial and removes the cork with a soft pop. The scent that rises is faint, herbal, not unpleasant. He tips the vial carefully, letting a few drops fall into the brass kettle, where his syrup warms over a low flame. The drops disappear into the dark liquid swallowed whole. He replaces the cork and sets the vial back in its place. A soft pop. A few drops. Small sounds in a quiet room. Let these small sounds be the only sounds you hear. The counter beneath his hands is cool, even though the room is warm from the low flame. He rests his palms on it for a moment, feeling the solid wood, the smoothness where it has been worn by years of use. There is comfort in this coolness, this solidity. The counter has been here longer than he has. It will be here after he is gone. For now it supports his work, holds his tools, offers its patient surface for whatever he needs to do. He picks up a glass stirring rod, a simple thing, just a stick of glass rounded at the ends so it won't scratch the kettle. He dips it into the syrup and begins to stir slowly in small circles. The motion is unhurried. There is no clock driving him forward, no deadline pressing. Just the slow rotation of the rod through the dark liquid, the gentle resistance of the syrup against the glass. As he stirs, he watches the surface of the syrup. It moves in slow swirls, catching the lamplight, showing dark currents within dark liquid. Now and then he lifts the rod and lets the syrup drip back. A single drop forms at the tip, heavy and dark. It stretches as it falls, thinning into a thread, then breaking free and dropping back into the kettle with a sound too soft to hear. A single drop of syrup falling. Watch it in your mind. Slow and heavy. Stretching. Falling. Gone. He makes a small adjustment. A pinch of something from a jar. A few more drops from another vial. Each addition is tiny, almost imperceptible, but he knows that small things accumulate into larger effects. A little more sweetness, a little less sharpness. The balance shifts by degrees, moving towards something he will recognize when he tastes it. Not yet, but soon. The flame beneath the kettle flickers slightly, responding to some small draft in the room. The syrup continues to warm, not boiling, just gently heated, its flavors mingling and deepening. Pemberton is patient. He has learned that patience is the most important ingredient in any mixture. Rushing leads to mistakes. Waiting leads to something better. Outside, the night continues its slow passage. Somewhere far away, a train sounds its whistle, a long, low note that rises and fades, carrying across the sleeping city like a sigh. The sound is so distant it barely registers, more felt than heard, a vibration in the air that passes and is gone. The train is moving through the dark, carrying passengers and cargo to places far from here. But here in this small room, nothing moves except the slow stirring of syrup in a brass kettle. The distant train hush fades into silence. The night holds its breath, and you can rest in that held breath, that perfect stillness. Let us move forward now, past the hours of quiet work, past the final adjustments and the careful recording of notes. The syrup is finished. It sits in a glass jar, dark, and still waiting to be tried. Pemberton has sealed it with a cork and set it aside to cool. Tomorrow he will take it to a pharmacy down the street, a place with a marble counter and a soda fountain where people come to drink carbonated water mixed with sweet syrups. Morning comes. This city wakes. The streets fill with the sounds of wagons and voices of horses and footsteps of a day beginning. Pemberton walks the few blocks to the pharmacy carrying his jar of syrup wrapped in cloth to keep it safe. The jar is heavy in his hands, heavier than its size would suggest, as if the syrup inside has a density beyond mere liquid. The pharmacy is called Jacob's Pharmacy, though the name matters less than what happens inside. There is a counter here, long and polished, with a marble top that stays cool even in the warmest weather. Behind the counter there are spigots and handles for dispensing carbonated water, that fizzing miracle that people have come to love. Customers sit on stools or stand at the counter ordering drinks mixed to their liking. A marble counter, cool and smooth. Imagine resting your hand on it. Feel the coolness spread through your palm. Soothing. Steady. Pemberton sets his jar on the counter. The pharmacist here, a colleague, a fellow mixer of drinks and remedies, looks at the dark liquid with curiosity. Pemberton explains what he has made, though the explanation is simple. A syrup. Something new. Worth trying. The pharmacist nods and reaches for a glass. The glass is tall and clear, with a heavy base that keeps it stable on the counter. The pharmacist measures out a small amount of the dark syrup, just an ounce or so, and lets it pool at the bottom of the glass. Then he turns to the soda fountain and pulls the handle, releasing a stream of carbonated water into the glass. The water meets the syrup with a soft hiss. Bubbles rise immediately, tiny and countless, racing upward through the darkening liquid. The syrup swirls and disperses, coloring the water brown, then darker brown, until the whole glass is filled with something that looks like liquid shadow shot through with rising bubbles. The fizzing settles into a gentle murmur, a continuous soft sound of carbonation releasing into the air. Bubbles rising. A soft hiss. The sound of something new being born. Let it be a gentle sound, a soothing sound. The pharmacist slides the glass across the counter to Pemberton. The glass leaves a trail of condensation on the marble, a thin line of moisture that catches the light from the window. The glass itself is already sweating tiny droplets forming on the outside as the cold carbonated water meets the warm air of the room. Pemberton wraps his hand around the glass and feels the chill against his palm, the slickness of the condensation, the weight of the liquid inside. He lifts the glass and takes a sip. The liquid is cold on his lips, fizzing gently on his tongue. Then the sweetness arrives, followed by something deeper, something harder to name, a complexity of flavor that unfolds as he swallows. He takes another sip, and another. The glass is empty before he quite realizes it. The pharmacist watches, then pours a glass for himself. He drinks. He nods slowly. It is good. It is different from the other syrups they sell, different in a way that is hard to articulate, but easy to taste. There is something here. Something worth offering to customers. Something worth offering. Something small and new. You don't need to understand it fully. Just let it exist like a thought drifting past. And so the drink begins to be served, one glass at a time. A customer sits at the counter and asks for something refreshing. The pharmacist mixes the dark syrup with fizzing water and slides the glass across. The customer drinks perhaps without much thought, just thirst being quenched on a warm afternoon. But something registers. The taste. The feeling. The way the cold spreads through the body and the sweetness lingers on the tongue. The customer finishes and sets the glass down. It clinks softly against the marble, a small sound, the sound of a transaction completed. Condensation pools around the base of the glass, a ring of moisture on the cool stone. The customer pays 5 cents and nickel coins worn smooth from passing through many hands and leaves. Another customer takes the empty stool. Another glass is poured. This is how it begins, not with announcements or fanfare, not with grand plans or visions of the future. Just one counter, one street, one city. Just a pharmacist and his syrup and the people who happen to walk through the door. 9 glasses sold on an average day. 9 small moments of refreshment. 9 nickels placed on a marble counter. 9 glasses. 9 moments. Small numbers. Ordinary numbers. Let them be ordinary. Let everything be ordinary and calm. Days pass. Weeks. The syrup becomes a regular offering at the soda fountain. Some customers ask for it by name or by a description, since the name is still taking shape. The dark one, they might say. The new one. The one that tastes like nothing else. Word spreads slowly the way word spreads in a city where people talk to their neighbors and remember what they liked. Pemberton watches from a distance, pleased but quiet about it. He continues to refine the syrup, making small adjustments, keeping notes. The recipe is his written in his hand, known only to him. He does not think much about where it might go, what it might become. He is a pharmacist, not a fortune teller. He makes things and sees what happens. But others are beginning to notice. A bookkeeper who handles the accounts. A businessman who frequents the pharmacy. People with different kinds of minds, minds that think about numbers and reach and possibility. They taste the dark syrup mixed with fizzing water, and something stirs in them, not just refreshment, but a question. A wondering. What if this drink, this small local habit, could travel beyond one counter, one street, one city? A wondering begins. A possibility stirs. But that is for later. For now there is only rest. Only the quiet after a small beginning. We leave them there for now. The pharmacist with his syrup, the counter with its rings of condensation, the customers with their nickels and their thirst. The drink is just a drink, a local pleasure. A small thing in a small place. But small things have a way of growing given time, given patience, given the slow accumulation of one glass after another, one day after another, one quiet moment after another. The lamp in the back room still burns some nights, as Pemberton works on other things. The train still sounds its distant whistle passing through the dark. The marble counter stays cool beneath the hands that rest upon it, and the syrup, dark and sweet, waits in its jar to be measured and mixed and poured into another glass for another customer on another ordinary day. Rest now. The story will continue slowly, gently, whenever you are ready. For now, let the pharmacy grow quiet. Let the city sleep. Let yourself sleep too. Part 3, Ledgers and Quiet Expansion. Time passes as it always does. John Pemberton grows older, and his health begins to fade. The syrup he created continues to be served at the soda fountain glass after glass, day after day, but Pemberton himself steps back from the work. He sells pieces of his creation to others, partners, investors, people who see something in this dark drink worth holding on to. And then in the summer of 1888, Pemberton dies quietly, leaving behind his recipe, his name written in a ledger and a drink that has not yet found its full shape. We do not need to linger on the sadness of this. Death comes to everyone, and Pemberton's passing is gentle, unremarkable, the end of one chapter before another begins. What matters for our story is what happens next, who picks up the thread and carries it forward. And so we turn our attention to a new figure, a man named Asa Candler. Candler is a different kind of man than Pemberton. Where Pemberton was an experimenter, a mixer, a creator of things, Candler is an organizer. He thinks in systems. He sees patterns. He understands how small things can be made larger through careful attention and steady effort. He is not flashy or dramatic. He is thoughtful, methodical, the kind of person who writes things down and follows through. Thoughtful and methodical. These are calming words. Let them settle over you like a light blanket. Candler acquires the rights to the syrup, the recipe, the name, the permission to make and sell it. This is a matter of papers signed, of agreements made of money-changing hands. The details are not important for our purposes. What matters is that by 1891, Candler owns everything related to the drink. It belongs to him now to do with as he sees fit. In his office there is a desk made of dark wood, polished but not ornate. A ceiling fan turns slowly overhead, its blades cutting through the warm Georgia air with a soft rhythmic whisper. The fan does not cool the room so much as stir it, moving the warmth from one place to another, creating a gentle current that rustles the papers on the desk. Candler sits in his chair and feels this faint breeze on his face, on the backs of his hands, and it is enough. On the desk there are ledgers. Large books with leather covers their pages lined in pale blue, filled with columns of numbers written in careful ink. Candler opens one and runs his finger down a column, adding figures in his head, checking the work that has already been done. The numbers tell a story: how much syrup was made, how much was sold, how much money came in and went out. It is a quiet story told in arithmetic, but Candler finds it satisfying. columns of numbers. Careful ink, the soft scratch of pen on paper. These are peaceful sounds, peaceful images. Let them quiet your mind. He registers the name officially so that no one else can use it. This is called a trademark, a way of saying this name belongs to this product and only this product. The paperwork is filed, the fees are paid, and the name becomes protected. It is a small legal step, a matter of forms and signatures, but it means something. It means the name has value worth guarding. The pen in Candler's hand is smooth and heavy, made of metal with a wooden grip worn soft from use. He dips it in the inkwell and writes another line in the ledger, the nib scratching gently across the paper. The paper itself has a texture slightly rough, absorbent, the kind that drinks ink without letting it spread. He blots the line with a piece of felt and moves on to the next entry. Outside the window, the street is quiet in the afternoon heat, the sounds of the city muffled and distant. Candler also secures the recipe itself. The formula for the syrup is written down in Pemberton's hand, and Candler keeps it safe. He does not share it widely. The fewer people who know exactly what goes into the syrup, the harder it will be for anyone to copy it. This secrecy becomes part of the drink's identity, something special, something that cannot be replicated, a mystery in a glass. A mystery in a glass. You don't need to solve it. Just let it exist quietly, like a secret you're not obligated to keep. The ceiling fan continues its slow rotation. Candler leans back in his chair and watches the blades turn for a moment, following their patient circle. The movement is hypnotic, unhurried, the same motion repeated endlessly without variation. He could watch it for hours if he let himself. But there is work to do, letters to write, plans to make. He turns back to his desk and picks up another sheet of paper, cream-colored and smooth beneath his fingertips. The drink begins to spread. Not quickly, not dramatically, but steadily, the way water spreads across a flat surface. One soda fountain becomes 2. 2 become 5. Pharmacies in Atlanta add it to their offerings, and then pharmacies in nearby towns. Marietta, Decatur places just a few hours away by wagon. Each new fountain is a small victory, a new place where someone can sit at a counter and order a glass of the dark, sweet drink. The syrup travels in wooden kegs loaded onto wagons and carried along dusty roads. The kegs are heavy, sloshing gently as the wagon moves their wooden staves held tight by metal bands. At the destination, the kegs are unloaded and rolled into back rooms where pharmacists tap them and measure out portions for each drink. The syrup is still made in Atlanta, still mixed according to Pemberton's recipe, but now it travels not far, not yet, but farther than before. Kegs on wagons. Dusty roads. The gentle slosh of liquid inside wood. Slow and steady like you're breathing. And now we come to a rhythm that will repeat throughout our story, a rhythm as old as commerce itself. Crates are filled with kegs of syrup. The crates are loaded onto wagons. The wagons travel to their destinations, bumping along roads that are sometimes smooth and sometimes rutted. At the destination, the crates are unloaded, the kegs are tapped, the syrup is measured and mixed and served. And then the empty kegs are collected, the crates are stacked, and the wagon returns to be filled again. Fill, deliver, return. Fill, deliver, return. This is the heartbeat of the business, the pulse that keeps everything moving. It is not glamorous work. It is repetitive and physical, the kind of work that makes your arms strong and your back sore. But there is something soothing in its regularity, something calming in its predictability. The same motions, the same routes, the same destinations, day after day, week after week. Imagine being one of the men who loads the crates. The morning is cool, the sun just rising the street outside the warehouse still quiet. You lift a crate heavy but manageable and carry it to the waiting wagon. Your boots scuff on the wooden floor of the warehouse. The crate settles into place with a solid thunk. You go back for another, and another. The work fills the morning, and by the time the wagon is full, you are warm from the effort, your muscles awake, your mind empty of everything except the task at hand. Fill, deliver, return. A rhythm like breathing. A rhythm like rest. Let it rock you gently like a boat on still water. Candler writes letters to pharmacists in other towns. The letters are polite businesslike, offering to supply them with syrup if they would like to serve the drink at their fountains. He includes samples, sometimes small bottles of the syrup, for them to try. The letters go out by post, traveling in canvas bags on trains and wagons, arriving days or weeks later in towns across Georgia and beyond. Some pharmacists write back. They are interested. They have tried the sample and found it good. They would like to place an order. Candler records each response in his ledger. Another line of careful ink, another small expansion of the territory where the drink is known. The ceiling fan turns. The pen scratches. The afternoon light slants through the window, falling across the desk in a warm golden stripe. The drink is still served at soda fountains, mixed fresh for each customer. This is how it has always been done. Syrup and carbonated water, combined at the moment of serving, poured into a glass handed across the counter. But Candler begins to wonder if there might be another way. A way to reach people who do not live near a soda fountain. A way to let the drink travel even farther, to places where there are no marble counters, no spigots of fizzing water. A wondering forms. A question without urgency. You can hold it lightly or let it drift away. There is no need to answer it tonight. What if the drink could be sealed in a container? What if the syrup and the water and the fizz could be combined in advance, closed up tight, and sent out into the world already complete? A customer could buy this sealed drink, take it home, open it whenever they liked. They would not need a soda fountain. They would not need a pharmacist to mix it for them. They could have the drink anywhere at home, at a picnic, on a train. This is the idea of bottling. It is not new. Other drinks have been bottled for years. But for this particular drink, mixed fresh at soda fountains, since its creation bottling would be something different. It would change how the drink reaches people. It would open doors that are currently closed. Candler considers the idea, turning it over in his mind like a smooth stone in his palm. He is not sure about it. He has built something that works the soda fountain business, the keg deliveries, the steady rhythm of fill and deliver and return. Bottling would be a new venture with new risks, new complications. He files the idea away, for now neither accepting nor rejecting it. There will be time to decide later. Filed away for later. Not everything needs to be decided now. Some things can wait. Rest can come first. Outside his window, the afternoon has faded into evening. The golden light has dimmed to something softer bluer, the color of twilight settling over the city. The street noises have quieted. Candler sets down his pen and rubs his eyes. The ledger lies open before him, its pages filled with the day's work. Tomorrow there will be more letters to write, more orders to fill, more crates to load onto wagons and send out into the world. But for now the work is done. The ceiling fan turns its slow circles. The warm air moves gently through the room. Somewhere in pharmacies across Georgia, the last customers of the day are finishing their drinks, setting their glasses on marble counters, leaving rings of condensation that will evaporate by morning. The drink has spread a little farther today. Tomorrow it will spread a little farther still. And somewhere in the back of Candler's methodical mind, the idea of bottling waits patiently. Not yet, but soon, when the time is right, when someone comes along with the energy and the vision to make it happen. The drink does not know it yet, but it is about to learn how to travel in a new way, sealed in glass, portable, independent, ready to go, wherever a bottle can go. Read. Why to travel? But not yet. For now everything rests. The ledgers close. The lamps dim. The city settles into sleep, and you can settle too. Part 4 glass and the quiet hum of making. The idea of bottling, which had waited so patiently in the back of Candler's mind, finally finds its moment. 2 men from Chattanooga, Tennessee, lawyers by trade but dreamers in their way, come to Atlanta with a proposal. They want to put the drink in bottles. They want to seal it up and send it out into the world, beyond the reach of soda fountains, into homes and picnics, and places where marble counters do not exist. Candler listens. He considers. And then in the summer of 1899, he agrees. The details of the agreement are simple enough: the rights to bottle the drink granted for a symbolic price, a partnership formed on a handshake and a signature. We do not need to dwell on the paperwork. What matters is what happens next. The first bottling plant opens in a simple brick building on a quiet street, and the drink begins to learn a new way of traveling. The building is nothing remarkable. red brick 2 stories windows that let in the morning light. Inside, there is machinery, not the complicated machinery of later years, but simpler things, early things. A tank for mixing the syrup with carbonated water. A device for filling bottles one at a time or a few at a time. A capper that presses metal seals onto glass lips. The machinery hums when it runs a low and steady sound, the heartbeat of a small operation just beginning to find its rhythm. A low and steady hum, like a refrigerator in a quiet kitchen. Like the sound of something working while you rest. The bottles themselves are simple in these early days. Straight-sided glass, clear or pale green, with the name embossed on the surface so you can feel the letters beneath your fingertips. Each bottle is heavy for its size, solid, the kind of weight that feels substantial in your hand. The glass is cool to the touch even on warm days, and when you wrap your fingers around a bottle fresh from the filling line, you can feel the chill of the liquid inside seeping through the walls. The work of bottling follows a rhythm, a sequence of motions repeated again and again throughout the day. It begins with washing. The bottles arrive dirty from their previous use, returned by customers, collected from shops, gathered in wooden crates, and brought back to the plant. They must be cleaned before they can be filled again. Workers feed them into a washing machine or scrub them by hand in the early days, hot water and brushes, removing the residue of what came before. The sound of washing is a rushing, sloshing sound water, moving through glass, clinking against glass. The bottles emerge wet and gleaming their surfaces slick, and they are set aside to dry or passed immediately to the next station. The workers' hands are often damp, their sleeves rolled up, the warmth of the water lingering on their skin, even as they reach for the next bottle. Wash. The sound of water. The feel of wet glass. Clean and ready. Let that feeling of readiness settle through you. After washing comes filling. The clean bottles are placed beneath a spout, and the dark liquid flows in syrup already mixed with carbonated water, fizzing gently as it pours. The sound is a soft gurgle, a whisper of bubbles, the voice of the drink finding its container. The bottle fills from the bottom up, the dark liquid rising, until it reaches the proper level and the flow stops. The filled bottle is moved aside, and an empty one takes its place. Fill. The gurgle of liquid. The weight of the bottle increasing in your hand as it fills. A transformation from empty to full, from light to heavy, happening over and over, bottle after bottle, hour after hour. Then comes capping. A metal cap is placed on the lip of the filled bottle, and a machine, or in the earliest days, a hand-operated device presses it tight, crimping the edges, sealing the fizz inside. The sound of capping is a small, decisive sound, a metallic snap or crunch, the moment when the bottle becomes complete. Before capping, the drink could escape, could go flat, could spill. After capping, it is contained, protected, ready to travel. Cap. A small, decisive snap. The seal is made. Everything is held safe inside, like being tucked in, like being held. The capped bottles are stacked in wooden crates. Each crate holds a dozen bottles nestled in rows, their caps facing up their bodies, held snug by the wooden slats. The stacking is done by hand. Lift a bottle, place it in the crate, reach for the next. The crates grow heavy as they fill. A full crate is satisfying to lift solid and substantial, the weight of a dozen drinks ready to be delivered. Stack. The clink of glass against wood. The soft thud of a full crate being set down. The growing pile of crates near the loading door waiting for the wagon or the truck that will carry them out into the world. And then loading. The crates are lifted onto the back of a wagon, or later a truck, arranged carefully so they won't shift during travel. The workers' arms are strong from this work, their backs accustomed to the lifting and carrying. The wagon bed fills with crates stacked 2 or 3 high, lashed down if necessary, ready for the road. The driver climbs up front, takes the reins or the steering wheel, and the delivery begins. Load. The creak of the wagon. The settling of weight. Everything in its place. Ready to go, but going slowly, gently. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load. This is the rhythm. This is the ritual. It repeats every day in every bottling plant with small variations but the same essential sequence. The workers do not need to think about it consciously anymore. Their bodies know the motions. Their hands move automatically, guided by muscle memory, while their minds drift to other things, a song, a daydream, the quiet blankness of repetitive work. Let us follow the delivery wagon as it leaves the plant. The morning is early, the sun just rising, the streets still quiet. The horse's hooves clop softly on the packed dirt road, or later the truck's engine rumbles low and steady. The driver knows this route by heart. He has driven it dozens of times, hundreds of times. Every turn is familiar. Every stop is expected. The first stop is a small grocery, its windows dark, its doors still locked. The driver waits or knocks gently or leaves the crates by the side door where the owner will find them. The bottles clink softly as he unloads them, the sound muffled by the quiet of the early morning. A rooster crows somewhere in the distance. The air is cool and damp, carrying the smell of dew and wood smoke. Early morning, cool air on your skin, the world not yet fully awake. You can rest in this in-between time, this quiet hour. The wagon moves on. Another stop, another shop. A pharmacist is just arriving, unlocking his door, nodding to the driver as the crates are carried inside. The pharmacist will place the bottles in a cooler filled with ice, and later in the day, customers will buy them cold and sweating, ready to drink. But for now, the bottles are just inventory, just glass and liquid waiting in the dimness of the back room. The route winds through the town, stopping at general stores and lunch counters at hotels and train stations. Each stop is brief unload, collect payment, or a signature exchange, a few words with the proprietor, move on. The wagon grows lighter as the crates are distributed. By midday, it is nearly empty, and the driver turns back toward the plant, ready to reload for the afternoon run or to rest until tomorrow. And at each stop, there are empty bottles to collect. The customers have drunk their drinks and returned the empties, which accumulate in crates behind shop counters, waiting to be picked up. The driver loads these empties onto the wagon, and they travel back to the plant where they will be washed and filled and capped and sent out again. The cycle continues. Nothing is wasted. The bottles circulate over and over like breath, like tides. A cycle without end. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver, return. Round and round. Let this rhythm be a lullaby, repeating gently. More bottling plants open. Not just in Chattanooga where the first one began, but in other cities, other towns. Each plant is its own small operation, owned by local people who know the local territory. They buy the syrup from Atlanta and mix it themselves, fill their own bottles, make their own deliveries. The network grows one plant at a time, spreading outward like ripples in still water. Each plant has its own building, its own machinery, its own workers. But the rhythm is the same everywhere. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver. The motions are identical, whether the plant is in Georgia or Tennessee, in a city or a small town. The drink tastes the same in every bottle. The experience of opening one, the hiss of escaping gas, the first cold sip is the same no matter where you are. But there is a problem, quiet and growing. The bottles all look alike. Not just the bottles from one plant, but bottles from many companies, many drinks. Straight-sided glass, similar shapes, similar sizes. A customer reaching into a cooler feeling for a familiar bottle in the dim light might grab the wrong one. A shopkeeper might confuse one brand for another. The drink needs a way to stand out, to be recognized not just by its name, but by its shape. A shape in the darkness. A form you could know by touch alone. This idea begins to stir, but gently, slowly, like a thought forming at the edge of sleep. The company begins to wonder, what if the bottle itself were different? What if it had a shape that no other drink used? A shape so distinctive you could recognize it even in dim light, even with your eyes closed, even if the bottle were broken into pieces. A shape that would say without words, this is the drink you're looking for. This is the one. The idea takes root quietly, like a seed in dark soil. There are conversations in offices, letters sent to glass companies, questions asked about what is possible. Could a bottle be made with curves instead of straight sides? Could it have ridges, texture, something the fingers could recognize? The answers come back slowly, tentatively. Yes, perhaps. It would require new molds, new techniques. But it could be done. We will return to this idea soon, the search for a distinctive bottle, the design that will emerge, the shape that will become famous. But for now, let it rest. Let it be just a seed, not yet sprouted, waiting in the dark for its time to grow. The bottling plants continue their work. The wagons make their rounds. The rhythm of wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver goes on steady and unchanging, while somewhere in the background, a new shape begins to be imagined. A new shape waiting to be born. But not yet. For now there is only the rhythm, only the hum, only the quiet work of making and delivering over and over while the world rests. Part 5. A shape for the hand. The question had been asked, what if the bottle could be recognized by touch alone? What if reaching into a cooler full of ice and water, your fingers could find the right one without looking? What if even in the dark, even broken into pieces on the ground, the shape would tell you what it was? This was the challenge given to glassmakers across the country. Design something distinctive. Design something unmistakable. Design something new. In a glass factory in Indiana, a small team begins to work on the problem. They are not rushed. There is no deadline pressing. They gather in a workshop where the light comes through high windows, soft and diffused, falling on wooden tables covered with sketches and clay models. The air smells faintly of heat and sand, the raw materials of glass. The men speak quietly among themselves, turning ideas over the way you might turn a smooth stone in your palm. One of them, a designer, goes to the library looking for inspiration. He pages through books slowly, not searching for anything specific, just letting images pass before his eyes. He finds a picture of a seed pod, a cocoa pod, as it happens, though it could have been anything organic, anything with curves. The pod has ridges running down its length, a swelling in the middle, a tapered shape at both ends. Something about it catches his attention. He makes a sketch on paper, lines forming slowly, an idea taking shape the way thoughts take shape at the edge of sleep, gently without force. The sketch becomes a clay model. The designer's hands work the soft material, pressing and smoothing, building up the curves, carving in the ridges. The clay is cool and damp beneath his fingers. He works slowly, pausing often to look at what he has made, to feel its weight, to run his thumb along the contours. This is not engineering. This is something closer to sculpture, to craft, to the patient making of a thing by hand. The model takes shape over days. It is rounded in the middle, narrowing at the top and bottom, with vertical ridges that run from neck to base. When he holds it, it fits his palm in a particular way, not like the straight-sided bottles that came before, which were merely functional, merely containers. This shape has something else, a comfort, a rightness. Like a curve settling into a curve, like a shoulder easing into a pillow at the end of a long day. The glassmakers study the model. They discuss how to translate it from clay to glass, from handmade prototype to something that can be produced by the thousands. There are technical challenges. The molds must be made just so the glass must flow evenly, The shape must be stable enough to stand on a shelf without tipping. But these are solvable problems. The important thing is the shape itself, and the shape is good. Solvable problems. Nothing urgent. Everything can be worked out in time. Let that patience settle into you now. The first glass prototypes are blown. Molten glass glowing orange gathered on the end of a long pipe shaped by breath and gravity into the new form. The glass cools slowly, its color shifting from orange to red to the pale green that will become familiar. When it is cool enough to touch, the glassmaker lifts it carefully, feeling its weight, its balance. The ridges press gently against his fingertips. The curve fits his grip like a handshake. They test it. They close their eyes and reach for bottles arranged on a table, trying to find the new shape among the old. It is easy. The fingers know. Even without looking, the hand can tell which bottle is which. The ridges, the curve, the particular width at the middle, these are signals the body reads without thinking, the way you know the feel of your own front door handle in the dark. The prototype is sent to be reviewed. More adjustments are made, a little narrower here, a little smoother there. The process is unhurried. Careful, the work of people who understand that getting it right matters more than getting it done quickly. Finally, a version emerges that satisfies everyone. It is approved. It is patented. And slowly, plant by plant, the new bottles begin to replace the old. Slowly, plant by plant. No rush. Change coming gently, like the turning of seasons, like the gradual lightening of the sky before dawn. The new bottle enters the rhythm that already exists. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver. The motions are the same, only now the shape passing through each station is different. The workers' hands learn the new curves. The crates are adjusted to hold the new bottles snugly. The wagons and trucks carry them out into the world, where they arrive at shops and cafes and kitchen tables ready to be opened and drunk. And when they are opened, there is that familiar sound, the gentle hiss of pressure, releasing the soft exhale of carbonation escaping into the air. The sound has not changed. The taste has not changed. Only the shape of the container is different, and the shape, once you hold it, feels like it was always meant to be this way. A shape that fits a relaxed hand. A shape that asks nothing of you except to be held. Picture a kitchen table in a small house late afternoon. The light comes through a window with thin curtains, casting soft patterns on the wooden surface. A woman sits at the table, resting after the day's work. Before her is a bottle of the drink, still cold from the icebox, its surface beaded with condensation. The droplets catch the light, tiny points of brightness against the pale green glass. Condensation on glass. Small drops sliding slowly down. You've felt this before. You can feel it now in your memory, cool against your palm. She wraps her hand around the bottle. The curves fit her grip. The ridges press lightly against her fingers. The glass is cold, deliciously cold, and the chill spreads into her hand up her wrist, a small relief on a warm day. She lifts the bottle and takes a sip. The fizz tingles on her tongue. The sweetness follows. She sets the bottle down, and it leaves a ring of moisture on the table, a perfect circle that will evaporate by evening. This is a small moment, an ordinary moment, but it is repeated in variations across the country, across the years. A man on a porch at dusk, the bottle resting on the arm of his chair the evening, settling in around him. The crickets begin to sing. The sky fades from blue to purple to the deep gray of coming night. He drinks slowly, watching nothing in particular, thinking nothing in particular, just resting in the space between day and sleep. A small cafe in a town whose name does not matter. The ceiling fan turns slowly overhead, stirring the warm air. A customer sits at a table by the window, a bottle before her half empty, now the condensation mostly dried. She is reading a letter or a book or nothing at all, just sitting, just being the bottle within reach whenever she wants another sip. The cafe is quiet. The afternoon stretches. Time moves like honey, slow and golden. Time moving slowly. A ceiling fan turning. The afternoon stretching like a cat in a patch of sun. Let yourself stretch too and settle and rest. The bottle becomes familiar. Year by year, decade by decade, it is simply there in coolers and refrigerators, on tables and counters, in hands and memories. Children grow up with it. Parents serve it at picnics and birthday parties. Grandparents remember when the shape was new, when it first appeared in the shops, when they first felt those ridges under their fingers and thought, this is different, this is something. The crates continue their rhythm. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver, return. The cycle does not stop. In bottling plants across the country, the machinery hums its steady hum. Workers move through their stations, hands busy, minds elsewhere. The bottles emerge row after row, curve after curve, each one identical to the last, each one ready to carry the dark, sweet liquid to whoever will drink it next. And in all those small moments, the kitchen table, the porch at dusk, the quiet cafe, the bottle is a constant. Not the center of attention, not the point of the moment, just a presence. Something to hold. Something cold and curved and familiar. Something that asks nothing and offers a small, simple pleasure in return. The hiss of opening. The coolness on the tongue. The satisfaction of thirst met. A constant. A presence. Something that simply is without demanding anything. Like the quiet of this room. Like the bed beneath you. Like rest itself. Decades pass. The world changes around the bottle, but the bottle remains. Wars come and go. Technologies transform daily life. Cities grow and spread. But in a cooler, at a gas station, in a refrigerator, in a suburban kitchen, in a vending machine, in a hallway, somewhere the same shape waits. Curved, ridged, cool to the touch, ready to be recognized by a hand reaching in even in dim light, even without looking. The shape becomes so familiar it is almost invisible. People stop noticing it consciously. It is just there, the way a doorknob is there, the way a light switch is there, so ordinary it disappears into the background of life. But if you pause, if you hold the bottle in your hand and really feel it, the curves are still there. The ridges are still there. The work of those glassmakers in Indiana more than a century ago is still present in every bottle produced today. And somewhere in this very moment, someone is reaching for one. Their hand closes around the familiar shape. They feel the coolness, the condensation, the gentle press of ridges against their palm. They lift it. They open it, that soft hiss, that small release. They drink. And for a moment, everything else falls away. There is just this, a cold drink on a warm day, a small pleasure, an ordinary moment in an ordinary life. An ordinary moment. A small pleasure. These are the things that fill a life, that make a life. And these are the things you can release now as you drift toward sleep. The bottle has become a quiet constant. Not loud, not demanding, just present. In the background of a million small scenes, a million unremarkable afternoons, a million moments of rest and refreshment. The shape that was designed to be recognized in the dark has become something more, a shape that belongs to the rhythm of daily life, as familiar as the curve of a doorway, as comfortable as a well-worn chair. And so it continues. The plants hum. The crates fill. The wagons and trucks make their rounds. The bottles travel from factory to shelf to hand to mouth, and then back again, washed, filled, capped, stacked, loaded, delivered. A cycle without end, a rhythm without pause, a quiet constant in a changing world. The drink and its distinctive bottle together, moving through time. Moving through time. But you do not need to move. You can be still. The rhythm continues without you. The world turns without you. Rest now. Rest. Part 6. Faded Signs and Distant Lights. Over the years, the drink left traces of itself in the world. Not just bottles and crates in the rhythm of delivery, but other things, quieter things, things made of paper and paint and sound. Signs appeared on storefronts and barn walls. Posters hung in shop windows. Melodies drifted from radios in kitchens and living rooms. These were the artifacts of a drink becoming familiar, becoming part of the landscape. And now, decades later, they have become something else. Relics, memories, gentle reminders of times that have passed. Imagine walking into an antique shop on a quiet afternoon. The shop is dim and dusty, filled with objects from other eras, old clocks, wooden furniture boxes of postcards no one will ever send. In the back, leaning against a wall, there is a metal sign. The paint has faded, the edges have rusted, but you can still see the familiar name, the familiar script, the red and white colors that have softened with age into something gentler, almost sepia. You don't need to buy the sign. You don't even need to look at it closely. It is just there, one object among many a piece of the past, resting quietly in a dim corner. The shop smells of old wood and dust, and something faintly sweet. Perhaps furniture polish, perhaps just the accumulated scent of decades. The floorboards creak as you walk. Somewhere a clock ticks slowly, measuring out the afternoon in patient intervals. A clock ticking, floorboards creaking, dust settling in slanted light. These are peaceful sounds, peaceful images. Let them settle over you. Or imagine a train journey late in the day. You are sitting by the window watching the countryside pass fields and farms and small towns blurring by. The light is golden, the sun low on the horizon, and everything outside has that soft, hazy quality that comes just before dusk. The train rocks gently on its tracks, a soothing rhythm, and you are drowsy, half watching, half dreaming. And then for just a moment you see it, a faded poster on the side of an old building glimpsed through the train window as you pass. The colors have been bleached by years of sun. The image is hard to make out, perhaps a bottle, perhaps a smiling face, perhaps just shapes that once meant something. And then it is gone, the train carrying you onward, and you are not even sure you really saw it. It was just a flicker, a ghost of something there and then not there. The train's whistle sounds in the distance, that long, low note you have heard before in this story, the sound of journeys and distances and things moving through the night. The whistle fades. The countryside continues to pass. You close your eyes and let the rocking of the train carry you, and if you think of the faded poster at all, it is only as a fragment, a piece of a dream already dissolving. The distant train whistle fades. The rocking continues. You are carried forward, without effort, toward rest, toward sleep. There were jingles, too. Short melodies that played on the radio, simple tunes with simple words. You might not remember them consciously. They were just background noise, part of the texture of an afternoon or an evening, something heard while doing dishes or sitting on a porch. But somewhere in the back of your mind a fragment might remain. A few notes. A phrase. The ghost of a song you cannot quite place. Imagine hearing it now faintly, as if from a radio in another room. The sound is soft, almost inaudible, more feeling than hearing. It is like a lullaby remembered from childhood. Not the words, not even the melody exactly, just the sense of it, the warmth, the comfort. You do not need to remember what it said. You do not need to hum along. It is just there, a whisper from the past, and then it fades, leaving only the quiet. Later, there were moving pictures, images on screens in living rooms across the country. Families gathered to watch the room lit only by the flickering glow. And sometimes between the programs, there would be a brief scene, a bottle being opened, condensation on the glass, someone taking a sip and smiling. These images were soft, warm, designed to feel like moments from a life you might recognize: a picnic, a holiday gathering, a summer afternoon. Flickering light in a dim room. Soft images. A feeling of warmth. Let these images be gentle, like memories seen through frosted glass. But we do not need to dwell on the images themselves. They were just invitations, gentle suggestions, reminders that the drink was there if you wanted it. What matters more is what they pointed to the moment of drinking itself. The bottle in the hand, the hiss of opening, the first cold sip. These things have not changed no matter how many signs were painted or jingles sung. The experience remains simple. While the signs were being painted and the melodies were being hummed, the drink was also traveling farther. Not just across the country now, but across oceans to other lands, other languages, other ways of living. The company formed partnerships with bottlers in distant places. Agreements made quietly, papers signed in offices far from Atlanta. The network spread slowly like a vine growing along a fence. But let us not think of this as something large or overwhelming. Let us think of it instead as a map seen from very far away, where each new place the drink arrived is just a tiny light appearing. One light in Paris, another in Tokyo, another in a small town in Brazil whose name you would not recognize. The lights appear slowly over years, over decades, each one small, each one quiet. Tiny lights on a dark map, appearing slowly, one by one. No urgency, no rush, just a gradual spreading like stars becoming visible as your eyes adjust to the night. The warm air of a summer evening drifts through an open window somewhere. A ceiling fan turns slowly, stirring papers on a desk, making the curtains sway gently. Outside the street is quiet, a few distant voices, the occasional passing car, the hum of insects in the trees. This is the world in which those tiny lights appeared. Ordinary places, ordinary evenings, ordinary lives going about their business. In each new place, the same simple thing happened. A bottling plant was built, or an arrangement was made with an existing one. Syrup was shipped, or the recipe was shared with trusted partners. The bottles were filled, capped, stacked, loaded, delivered. The rhythm continued the same rhythm you have heard throughout this story, only now it was happening in more places, in more languages, under more skies. Wash, fill, cap, stack, load, deliver. The crates traveled by truck and by train, by boat, and eventually by plane. They arrived at shops and cafes and roadside stands in places where the heat was different, the light was different, the sounds outside were different. But inside the bottle, the drink was the same. Dark, sweet, fizzing with tiny bubbles. A familiar taste in an unfamiliar place. The same taste everywhere. A constant across distances. You can rest in that constancy, that sameness, that reliability. A traveler in a foreign city, tired from a long journey, stops at a small shop. The language on the signs is unfamiliar. The coins in her pocket are unfamiliar. But in the cooler by the counter, she sees a shape she recognizes, curved, ridged, the pale green glass beaded with condensation. She reaches for it without thinking. The bottle is cold in her hand. She opens it and hears the gentle hiss, and for a moment, despite being thousands of miles from home, something feels familiar. This is what the spreading meant in the end. Not numbers or markets or strategies, but moments like this one. A person far from home finding something they recognize. A small comfort in a strange place. The drink does not solve anything or change anything. It is just there, offering what it has always offered: a cold sip, a sweet taste, a brief pause in the day. The company grew larger, of course. More offices, more employees, more complexity. But you do not need to think about any of that. The offices are far away in cities you are not visiting tonight. The complexity does not concern you. What concerns you, if anything does, is much simpler: the bottle in the cooler, the hand reaching for it, the hiss of opening, the coolness on the tongue. These things remain unchanged by whatever happens in distant boardrooms. Distant boardrooms are very far away. They are not here. Here there is only quiet, only rest, only the simple things. And so the decades passed. The signs faded on barn walls and were replaced, then faded again. The jingles changed with the times, new melodies for new ears, but always with that same simple message underneath: here is something to drink, something cold, something sweet. The moving pictures became sharper, then moved to different screens, smaller screens, screens in pockets. But the drink itself remained what it had always been. Somewhere tonight, an old radio plays in the kitchen while someone washes dishes. The music is faint, just background barely noticed. And maybe between songs there is a brief moment, a few notes, a familiar phrase that stirs something without quite reaching the surface. A memory of a memory. A feeling without a name. And then it passes, and the dishes continue, and the evening continues, and everything is as it was. The faded signs in antique shops will continue to fade. The old posters glimpsed from train windows will eventually crumble and disappear. The jingles will be forgotten, replaced by new sounds for new generations. But the drink will still be there in coolers and refrigerators and vending machines and convenience stores, waiting for the next hand to reach for it. Waiting patiently. No urgency, just presence. Like the quiet of this room, waiting for you to notice it or not, as you drift towards sleep. Even as the company grew, even as the tiny lights on the map multiplied, even as the network spread to places, Pemberton never imagined the act of drinking remained simple. A bottle or a can. A pause in the day. A moment to sit down, or to stand in the shade, or to lean against a counter. The hiss of opening. The cold against the lips. The sweetness, spreading across the tongue. And then the moment passes and life continues, and the empty bottle goes back into the crate to begin its journey again. This is what has stayed constant through all the changes, all the growth, all the decades. Not the signs or the jingles or the size of the company. Just this: a person, a drink, a quiet moment. The same simple ritual repeated billions of times in billions of variations all over the world. And each time, for that one moment, everything else falls away. There is just the drink, just the pause, just the small familiar pleasure of something cold and sweet. The small familiar pleasure. This is what remains. This is what you can carry into sleep, the simplicity of small pleasures unchanged by time. Part 7, Quiet Hours and Soft Light. The drink has changed over the years in small ways. There are versions now with less sugar or no sugar at all. Different formulas for different preferences. The cans and bottles sit side by side on shelves, each one offering a variation on the familiar theme. You do not need to choose between them tonight. You do not need to think about what is in them or what might be better for you. They are simply their options among options. Quiet choices waiting to be made or not made. The original remains. The variations exist beside it. This is how things often go. Something begins simply, and over time it branches, it diversifies. It becomes many things, while still being at its heart one thing. The dark color is the same. The fizz is the same. The shape of the bottle, where bottles are used, is still that familiar curve. What changes is subtle, invisible until you taste it, and even then, the experience is more alike than different. More alike than different. Sameness underneath the variations. Let this sameness be a comfort, a constancy you can rest against. Let us visit some quiet places where these drinks wait. Not crowded places, not busy places. The quiet hours, the empty spaces. The moments when most of the world is asleep or resting, and only a few things remain awake. Machines humming, lights glowing softly. The patient presence of things waiting to be used. A vending machine stands in a hallway. The hallway is empty. It is late at night, perhaps 2 in the morning, perhaps 3. The lights overhead are dimmed, or perhaps only the vending machine's own light remains casting a soft glow on the floor in front of it. The machine hums to itself the sound of its compressor, keeping everything cold inside a steady low note that has been playing for hours, for days, for years. Inside the machine, the cans and bottles are arranged in neat rows. Red labels, silver labels, labels in other colors for the different variations. They wait in the cold, in the dark behind the glass, each one identical to the others in its row. Each one ready to drop into the retrieval slot when someone makes a selection. But no one is making a selection now. The hallway is empty. The machine hums. The light glows. Nothing else moves. Nothing moves. Only the hum. Only the soft light. This is the stillness of deep night, the stillness you can sink into now. In a small shop, the refrigerator case stands against the back wall. The shop is closed, the lights off the door locked. But the refrigerator continues to run its motorcycling on and off, keeping the drinks cold for tomorrow's customers. The glass door reflects the faint light from the street outside a street lamp, perhaps, or the glow of a distant sign. The bottles and cans inside are just shapes in the dimness rows of shadows, waiting for morning. The refrigerator hums. It is a different hum than the vending machine lower, perhaps, or with a different rhythm. But it is the same kind of sound. The sound of cold being maintained. The sound of patience. The sound of something working quietly through the night so that the drinks will be ready, will be cold, will be waiting when someone wants them. You have heard this sound before. In your own kitchen, perhaps, where a refrigerator hums through the night while you sleep. The sound is so familiar you do not notice it anymore. It is part of the background of your life, the quiet machinery that keeps things cold, that keeps things ready. It asks nothing of you. It simply continues, hour after hour, while you rest. The hum continues. You do not need to listen to it. You do not need to think about it. It simply is, and you simply are, and both can rest together. An airport gate deep in the night. The flights have stopped for a few hours. The departure boards show times far in the future, 6 in the morning, 7-8. The rows of seats are mostly empty. The lights are dimmed to a soft glow. Somewhere, a cleaner pushes a mop slowly across the floor, but even that sound is distant, muffled barely there. A traveler sits alone in one of the seats. She is waiting for an early flight, too early to go to a hotel, too late to do anything but wait. Her bag is at her feet. Her eyes are half closed. In her hand, she holds a can-cool aluminum, beaded with condensation even in the air-conditioned air. She takes a sip occasionally, not because she is thirsty, but because it gives her something to do, something to hold, a small ritual to mark the passing of the quiet hours. The can is cold against her palm. The aluminum conducts the chill, spreading it through her fingers up into her hand. She can feel the curve of the can, the slight ridges where her fingers grip. When she opens it, there is that familiar sound, the soft hiss, the gentle exhale of pressure releasing. The sound is small in the large empty space of the gate, but she hears it. It is a tiny event in a very quiet night. A soft hiss. A cool can. A quiet night. These are the only things that matter in this moment. Let them be the only things that matter for you now. In a library, long after closing, the shelves stand in darkness. But in a corner, a single lamp still burns. A student sits at a table, books spread before her, a notebook, open, a pen in her hand. She is studying for something, an exam, a paper. It does not matter what. The hour is late. Her eyes are tired. The words on the page have begun to blur. Beside her books there is a bottle. She bought it hours ago from a machine somewhere in the building, and now it is nearly empty, the last inch of liquid warming toward room temperature. She does not drink from it anymore. It is just there, part of the landscape of her evening, a companion through the long hours of reading and writing. The bottle sits quietly, asking nothing, offering nothing more than it has already given. The lamp casts a circle of warm light on the table. Beyond that circle, the library is dark, the shelves receding into shadows. The student does not look up. She does not notice the darkness. She is focused on her work, or perhaps on nothing at all, her mind wandering even as her eyes move across the page. The bottle waits. The lamp glows. The night continues. The lamp glows. The night continues. You do not need to study anything tonight. You do not need to read or write or think. You can simply rest. A worker finishes a late shift. The factory or the office or the store, it does not matter which is quiet. Now the day's work done, the machines powered down or humming in standby. He walks to his car in the parking lot, his footsteps echoing in the emptiness. The night air is cool on his face after hours inside. He pauses by his car, not quite ready to drive home, just standing for a moment in the quiet. In his hand he holds a can. He bought it from the break room vending machine before he left a small reward for finishing a small ritual to mark the end of the shift. The can is cold. He opens it, hears the hiss, takes a long drink. The cold spreads through him. The sweetness is familiar. He stands there in the parking lot under the stars or the streetlights, drinking slowly, thinking of nothing, feeling the tiredness in his body and the relief of being done. The night is very quiet. A car passes on a distant road, its headlights sweeping briefly across a far wall, then gone. A dog barks somewhere, one bark, then silence. The worker finishes his drink, crushes the can, gently tosses it in a bin. He gets in his car. The engine starts. He drives home through the empty streets, and the night closes in behind him as quiet as before. The night closes in. Quiet as before. Empty streets, soft lights, the world at rest. You are part of this resting now. In all these quiet places, at all these quiet hours, the drink is the same. The can or the bottle, the hiss of opening the coldness, the sweetness, the pause. It does not matter if it is the original formula or one of the variations. It does not matter if it is in a vending machine or a refrigerator at an airport or in a library in a parking lot or a small shop. The experience is the same. a moment of refreshment, a small ritual, a familiar presence in the quiet. Machines hum, the lights glow softly. The drinks wait in their neat rows, cold and patient. Somewhere, someone is reaching for one. Somewhere else, someone has just finished one. And somewhere else, no one is reaching at all. The vending machine stands alone, humming to itself, glowing in an empty hallway, waiting for the next person who might come, whenever that might be. Waiting patiently. No urgency. No need. Just presence. Just quiet. Just the soft hum of things keeping themselves ready. And now let us begin to return. Let us leave these modern places, these vending machines and airports and late-night libraries. Let us travel back not in miles, but in feeling toward something older, toward a quieter kind of night, toward a lamp burning in the back of a pharmacy a long time ago. The vending machine fades. The airport gate dissolves. The student's lamp dims and disappears. We are traveling backward now, or perhaps not backward, but inward, toward the center of the story, toward the place where it began. The streets grow quieter. The buildings grow smaller. The sounds of the modern world, the hum of machines, the distant traffic fade into a deeper silence. And there it is again. The pharmacy. The wooden counter worn smooth by years of hands resting upon it. The marble slab cool, even on the warmest day. The glass bottles lined on shelves, amber and blue and green, catching the faint light. The smell of herbs and sugar and something faintly medicinal. The stillness of a place where things are made slowly, carefully by hand. The pharmacy, where we began, where everything began. Let yourself return there now, to that quiet, to that stillness. Lamp still burns in the back room. The pharmacist, is it Pemberton? Is it someone else? It does not matter now. The pharmacist works quietly at his bench, stirring something in a vessel, watching the liquid move, making small adjustments. The brass kettle. The glass stirring rod, the notebook with its careful notes. Everything as it was us, as it has always been in the quiet of the story's heart. A drop of dark syrup falls from a spoon. It stretches as it falls, thinning into a thread, then breaking free, dropping into the vessel below. The drop disappears into the liquid. The pharmacist stirs. The lamp flickers gently. Outside the city sleeps. Inside the work continues patient and slow, as it has continued for more than a century, as it will continue for centuries more. This is where we return always. Not to the vending machines and airports, not to the factories and trucks, not to the global network of tiny lights. We return here to the quiet beginning, to the small room, where a single person made a single thing carefully, slowly by lamplight. This is the heart of the story. Everything else is just the echoes spreading outward, lasting for generations, but always returning, always coming back to this. Returning to the quiet. are returning to the beginning. Let yourself return to the simplest place to rest asleep. Final part, returning home. We have traveled a long way together, from a single pharmacy to the whole world, from a brass kettle to countless machines, from one person mixing a syrup by lamplight to a network that stretches across oceans and continents. The journey has taken more than a century, though. In our telling, it has taken only the length of an evening, only the time it takes to settle into sleep. You do not need to remember the journey. The names of the people, the dates of the events, the details of how one thing led to another, these can fade now. They have done their work. They have carried you here to this quiet moment, to this soft place at the edge of sleep. You can let go of the names and dates, the facts and figures, and simply rest. Let go of the names and dates. Let them drift away like leaves on slow water. Only rest remains. What matters now is not the story, but you. Your body lying in the dark. Your breath moving in and out. The weight of yourself held by the bed, supported without effort. Let us turn our attention there now, away from the drink and its history, toward the simple fact of being here, being still, being ready to sleep. Begin with your feet. Notice them without moving them. Feel the weight of your heels pressing into the mattress. Feel your toes relaxed, not curled, not gripping. Your feet have carried you through the day. They are tired now, and they can rest. Let them grow heavy. Let them sink into the softness beneath them. Heavy feet, sinking down. Nothing to carry anymore. Nowhere to walk. Only stillness. Move your attention upward to your legs. Your calves, your shins, the long muscles of your thighs. These too have worked today, walking, standing, climbing, carrying you from place to place. But now they can release. Feel the tension, leaving them draining away like water down a gentle slope. Your legs grow heavy, warm still. Your hips settle deeper into the mattress. Your lower back softens. Your stomach rises and falls with your breath gently, without effort. You do not need to control your breathing. It happens on its own, the way your heart beats on its own, the way sleep will come on its own if you let it. Just notice the rising and falling. Just feel the soft rhythm. Rising and falling. The rhythm of rest. Let it carry you. Your chest expands and contracts. Your ribs move gently outward, then return. Inside your chest, your heart beats its slow, steady beat, a rhythm you have heard your whole life, though you rarely notice it. It does not need your attention. It does not need your help. It simply continues faithful and patient while you drift toward sleep. Your shoulders, which have held so much today, tension, responsibility, the weight of carrying on, can finally drop. Let them fall away from your ears. Let them spread wide and heavy against the bed. There is nothing to hold up now, nothing to carry. The night is doing the holding for you. Nothing to hold, nothing to carry. The night holds you instead. Your arms lie at your sides or folded across your chest or wherever they have come to rest. Feel their weight. Feel your elbows, your forearms, the soft inner surface of your wrists. Your hands are open or gently curled, not gripping anything. Your fingers are still. Your palms are warm. Let them be exactly as they are. Your neck softens. The small muscles at the base of your skull release. Your jaw unclenches. Perhaps you did not know it was clenched until now. Let your teeth part slightly. Let your tongue rest heavy in your mouth, not pressing against anything. Let your lips be soft. Your eyes are closed or closing. The muscles around them relax. Your forehead smooths. Your brow unfurrows. Your whole face softens, becoming peaceful, becoming still. There is nothing to look at now, nothing to read or watch or search for. Only the soft darkness behind your eyelids, warm and safe. Soft darkness, warm and safe. You are held. You are ready. Sleep is near. And now one last return. We step outside the story entirely. We leave behind the drink and its bottles, the machines and the deliveries, the century of growth and change. We step outside onto a quiet street in a city that is sleeping. The hour is very late. The lamps have dimmed. The doors are closed. Above, if we look up, there are stars. The street is empty. No wagons, no trucks, no footsteps. Only the soft sound of night itself, a breath of wind, a distant rustle, the quiet that exists when everything human has gone to rest. The buildings are dark shapes against a darker sky. The windows reflect nothing. The world has turned inward, turned towards sleep. Somewhere on this street, there is a building where a light once burned late, where someone once worked quietly mixing something in a vessel watching drops fall from a spoon. But the light is off now. The work is done. The building sleeps like everything else, holding its memories inside its walls, holding its history in the grain of its wood and the cool of its marble. The light is off. The work is done. Everything rests. Everything sleeps. And you can too. The story ends here. Not because there is nothing more to tell, but because this is the right place to stop. At the quiet end of a long journey. At the soft edge of sleep. The drink will still be there tomorrow and the next day and for many days to come. But you do not need to think about tomorrow. You do not need to think about anything at all. Now let everything soften. The edges of thoughts grow hazy. The boundaries between one thing and another begin to blur. There is only warmth, only weight, only the slow pulse of being alive and being at rest. Soft, dark, warm, slow. These are the only words that matter now. The distant sounds fade. The faint glow behind the eyes dims further. The body settles deeper, heavier, more still. Breath slows. Thoughts drift. One by one, the small lights of awareness blink out gently without resistance, like stars disappearing into the pale of dawn. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to figure out, nothing to remember or plan or decide. Only this, only here, only now. Only the soft, dark, warm, slow drift toward something deeper, something quieter, something like rest, something like peace, something like sleep. Drift, settle, fade, soften, let go. The night is quiet. The world is still. You are safe. You are held. Sleep now.